that brings me on to Youssef Chermiti. We're going to discuss him. I mean, we've spoken about him at length this season, this big game hunter that he is, but, in the other games, he just seems to sort of shrink. I mean, he comes on at half time, he does well. His link up play was great, but, at the end of the day, as a number 9, yourself, Greg, you're judged on what you do in terms of how you put the ball in the net. And, he's had 3 big chances, especially that one-on-one where he just needs to clip it over the keeper. I mean, it's a conundrum, is it? Because you look at, Bojan Miovski, who for me is probably the club's best finisher, but he just goes through spells of games where you don't really notice him. He doesn't impose himself on the run of play. But if you put the ball in front of him, he'll score. Whereas Chermiti is probably more useful to teams in terms of getting you up the pitch, but you're just never quite sure what you're going to get from him in front of goals.
I do believe that his general play is very good. He is a real team player. You can see that. But as you say, for me, I do think you don't even have to be that good to get 20 goals a season at Rangers with the chances that you get. But there is bags of potential there. You can see that. And if that just clicks together one day, he could be a top striker because he has got all-round game to be a really top striker. He's quick, he's strong, great touch, can see a pass, good right foot. So that there is potential there, but as you say, it's just frustrating because we can all see that. Mm-hmm. We can all see the potential he's there. It's just frustrating that he misses the easy ones, and it won't score ridiculous ones.
Is there a wee bit of the Morelos in him? I mean, you played alongside the Buffalo. He was a guy that if you give him too long to think, that's when it would fall apart. If he just played off the cuff, if he played instinctive, then you'd usually think
Chermiti's a lot better technically than Alfredo. Mm-hmm. But Alfredo plays with that fire in the belly, you know what I mean? Yeah. I love that, you know what I mean? The fire in the belly, that's when he's at his best. When he's on that edge, obviously, he could go over that edge quite a few times. And Alfredo, he was probably top 5 strikers in Europe at one point. Mm-hmm. But technically, he wasn't great in training, finishing in that. And then he would go, when it comes to a game day, he's just a different animal.
I saw Stephen Gerrard speaking this week about Morelos and just how he would have to give him that wiggle room. How was that for you guys when you see him sort of maybe overstep the line with a couple of things, and then he's maybe getting away with murder as he speak? Where you guys, I remember you speaking before about things like your weight with Gerrard, and he was right on you. I mean, how did the boys feel when he's getting away with murder and you're getting pulled up for having a Mars bar or something?
But Alfredo was bigger than us all, but he was still playing. But if there was a few years it was just a wee bit overweight, we would get dropped. But that's just the way it goes. You know what I mean? When you're as good as him in his position, you do get a little bit of leeway, and that's just the way it goes.
Can I just ask? I mean, Douglas, I'll go to you with this one. Skovolsson again comes off early. So much hope, so much hype around him coming in. And you're thinking, if he's going to convince the club to spend this £8 million that it's going to take to make it a permanent deal, you would think he would have ignited by now. That spark would have showed. But apart from one or two brief moments, obviously has a hand in the goal, the second goal, but just another really underwhelming performance.